Hello and welcome to Trader Chat with Flynn Goward and a rather sunburnt Johnny Ward, taking in some of the sunshine on the west coast of Ireland. But dialing in as ever without fail to give you the update on the trader news from Star Sports. Now, Flynn, absolutely fascinated. I have no idea how the firm coped with the Derby and the Oaks. Obviously, two hot favourites, relatively hot favourites, stuffed and unplaced in both, but potentially results that actually could have gone against the firm as well. And I'm saying this without knowing anything about it. So, enlighten me and enlighten our viewers and listeners. How is the Derby? How is the Oak for Star Sports?
So in terms of Epsom overall, it was a very, very good Epsom for us. When, like you said, when you look at the results, it's kind of easy to see why. Firstly, thank God we weren't standing. We just missed out. But thank God we weren't standing from the point of, did you see the weather on the Friday? It was absolutely horrific. It was hammering down. So I was kind of watching on TV thinking, oh, I could be there right now, be getting absolutely soaked and struggling to put up the massive umbrellas. So thank God that we weren't there getting soaked on the Friday anyway, even though the results would have probably been favourable to us on course. I'm just going to spin through the races on the Friday, just a few of the notable ones, and then we'll get to the kind of Oaks and Derby afterwards. So the 2:35 was quite an eventful race for us, so only a couple of races in. The favourite Irish Admiral was a very popular result and attracted a bet of 270 grand at 6-4. Big players were out to play for classic days. 270 grand at 6-4. Never looked like the winner and kicked us off to a great start on the Friday. The course specialist Coronation Espinada was a great result, winning at 12-1. So a really good start for us on the Friday, and then the Coronation Cup followed that. Japan was the one that attracted the large sums. 200 grand laid at 3-1, so 600 grand lose through the book, and then we saw a flurry of other bets as well. In terms of the most popular horse in the race, it would have been Al-Azi, the one with the potential. He saw the biggest number of bets for him. We actually saw a 20 grand bet on Al-Azi, nothing to the size of the one on Japan, but we did see big bets for Al-Azi and a lot of bets for the favourite.
This is a cracking result, is it?
Yeah, amazing result. Pyledriver, what a horse! I just like
great attitude. Love the race. Thought it was these all aged like mile and 4 races are just fantastic races, and that lived right up to it. I mean, Japan came into it floundered, then you think Alazi's going to win, just can't out battled. Great ride by Martin Dwyer, fantastic race.
Yeah, and fantastic to watch for us, to be honest. The way he battled back on the inside, and in Japan never looked like the winner, did he? He was always going to be between the front two. Pyledriver didn't seem to like the track at all. He was kind of wandering all over the place, but managed to get the job done. It was a really good ride from Martin Dwyer. After the Coronation Cup, obviously we were quite a bit in front at this stage, and then we got to the Oaks. So another good result in the Oaks for us, which I'd love to say.
Yeah, this is a bit mad because RTE rang me about a Shergar documentary that the BBC has just started. It's called like Sports Greatest Crimes or something, but it's like a 6 or 7 part series. So I'm on holidays here, so I tried to cram the first episode in on the road in West Kerry or whatever. So I listened to the first episode, and obviously you're listening back to Shergar's absolute romp. But in the middle of the podcast, I had to stop to watch the Oaks, and it was just weird how impressive she was relative to like one of the best Oaks performances ever. This is a filly that I tipped up a few times as a 2-year-old, and I'd completely given up on her because she'd had a few chances. And where is this improvement come from? But there were a lot of people taking on the favorite? Obviously, was there kind of inside money for the winner? Relative to the favourite, or how did it work?
Not particularly. The ones they want to go after were Santa Barbara. I thought she was going to be really weak and really hard to lay because of the kind of a lot of questions going into the race. But
rain softened ground as well and all that.
Yeah, exactly. But we still laid 250 grand at 5-2, and then we laid 100 at 5-2. So some real big bets there coming for the favourite. So that thought of Santa Barbara going into the race was real confidence, really. We also laid Divani each way, and they also copped the place part there with over 50 grand each way at 14.
We did talk about that as a big market mover last week, and it still eased out to 20s on the day.
Yeah, really easy to back, actually. It was a really weird performance from Snowfall. I mean, she was obviously amazingly impressive, but did the ground flatter her slightly? I just don't know. Like when a performance like that happens, it just makes you want to question it rather than believe it. I can't wait to see her come out again and see what she can do there. So she's now favourite for the Arc de Triomphe. She's 5-1 favourite for the Arc. Love is second in at 13-2. So Ballydoyle hold all the cards when it comes to the Arc.
What price Bolshoi Ballet?
That is a very good question. I'll find out for you just now in terms of what price he is.
Now, I know the injury, the way Aidan was talking after the race, it sounded a bit more serious than he got struck into, which would explain the performance. They're talking, the word tendon was mentioned, so they're saying like 7 to 10 days. But bear in mind, if you write this result off, this was a hot favourite for the Derby, who's now a massive price for the Oaks.
Yeah, I mean, 25 to 1 Bolshoi Ballet for the Arc de Triomphe. So a big double figure price there. We may as well get straight into the Derby now, to be honest. So fantastic result for us with Adayar winning the race. Shortened massively. I
Didn't lay it?
No, we laid it the night before for like a kind of small sum overnight, but nothing notable on the day, especially during that move. It was around 60 on the Betfair. And then when on Exeter, he was right at the bottom of the list, but he was probably about, I don't know, should have been about fourth on the list. He was around the 18 mark, so he really shortened up. But we didn't see much of the money. We did lay Bolshoi Ballet with a 400 grand at 6 to 4. So it's all about Bolshoi Ballet, and then we laid a further 100 grand at 6 to 4.
It's very frustrating if you have a bet like that, because this horse, like you have so much hope in the sense that he's a great trip in the race, everything goes well, but little do you know he's already been kicked and he's effectively zero chance. And you can't legislate for stuff like that. But if you're backing a favourite in a Derby at 6 to 4, things can and will go wrong, I guess.
Of course. And how much do you think that injury had an impact on his run, Johnny?
I believe Aidan O'Brien. I mean, the horse was absolutely floundering from 4 down, and you can imagine if you're injured at a conventional course, not to mind Epsom. Aidan said normally you might get through a race like that, but when it happens, I suppose 10 furlongs out in a race as difficult as that. I mean, there was a slight question mark against him on stamina grounds, but this horse was beaten at Tatnam Corner pretty much. He was dead. I mean, I was certain there was something wrong with him, and unfortunately, that's what happens in horse racing. It's the thing that frustrates me most. Granted, there was an excuse here, but it's when you just don't get a run for your money when a horse gets injured or something goes badly wrong.
Yeah, it's really, really frustrating, but thank God he's kind of come out of the race, and hopefully they can kind of get him back for future engagements. In terms of Adayar and where he goes next, he's 10 to 1 for the Arc, he's 3 to 1 for the Ledger. So I would assume he's going to go to the Ledger. But it was
really, really inspiring though to see a horse by Frankel do that, I think, because Galileo started off his stud career sort of okay. His stallion fee actually dropped from 50 grand to 37, I think. And there, if you ask Fran Berry, he might say, Frankel's done okay, but he's been sent brilliant mares. But you're waiting for this brilliant classic winner, and now we found it. It was a sensational performance.
Yeah, of course, and obviously Deep Impact, Syrie, Snowfall to win the Oaks. So Galileo was scoreless in the two big classics. And in terms of the big race over a couple of days, we kind of did fantastically. So I can't complain. There's probably just a couple more to touch on for Saturday really quickly. The Diomed Stakes, we had 200 grand on Bell Rock. Bell Rock was by far the most popular there. This is us rolling back the years. It was fantastic to see. It meant that we went into the Derby with a little bit of a buffer. So even though we obviously laid some of the losers in the Derby, going into that race, we were in a decent state. We had lots of action in the Northern Dancer Handicap, and this was less profitable for us. This was later in the day. We laid 6 to 4 about Group 1 Power, and that was 250 grand at 6 to 4 actually, so a really big bet there. Then we laid a further 200 grand on Soto Scissor at 3 to 1. Again, both of those kind of top the day off for us. One more race that I didn't actually mention from the Friday, which I really want to mention. We had some coverage in the Daily Mirror about this because they kind of picked up on the blogs that we do and stuff like that. And we had a few really, really big bets in this race. This was actually the 540 on the Friday. We laid 3 horses for large sums. They all came in at different times. The bets, we laid 300 grand Dulas at 11 to 4. 225 grand Roscollin at 9 to 2, which was the eventual winner, and then 110 grand Pause for 4. So we laid these all different times. Roscollin was the winner, so that returned more than £1 million for that one bet. But then obviously when you take into account the book and stuff like that, we lost about 600 on the race. So we kind of lost some of it on that Friday, but then the big race on Saturday, we managed to win it back. But then it all changed Sunday when we got to the Prix du Jockey Club, Johnny. Yeah,
so Aidan O'Brien finally bakes his duck.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, Smart Basilica absolutely dotted up on the far side, didn't he? It was an absolute howler of a commentary. If you heard it, he kind of called a completely different horse in front, and then realised it was actually Smart Basilica on the far side. We laid bets for 200 grand at 3 to 1 on the favourite. So after the highs of Friday and Saturday, we had some lows on Sunday. I thought he was going to go to the St James's Palace next, but he seems to be drifting for that this morning. So I'm not sure where he's going to go. He's around a 5 to 1 mark for that. I was a bit surprised when I popped into the office today to see that, to see Poetic Flair, the favourite there. So I'm not sure where he goes next, but it was a great result on Sunday for Aidan O'Brien, even though he didn't have the best Saturday in the world.
So does like Ben Keats all give you a big juicy bonus when you have a weekend as good as that, or does he just say, "Soldier on, my soldiers"? Long year ahead.
It's a little bit close to Ascot for any of that. I think we need to get Ascot out of the way, and then those conversations might be happening.
Will you be at Ascot standing?
Be thinking. I shall be. Yeah, we've got 2 pitches, so they're doing a pilot event at Ascot, so they're having 12,000 people per day. So we've got both pitches in the run, which is great. We'll be on the rail, and then we'll have a taps pitch as well. So you'll see myself and Lofty on the track next week.
Excellent. Before we get to the Euros, which are upcoming, and obviously the Star Sports Greyhound Derby, which started at the weekend, let's talk cricket.
Sorry, we laid New Zealand in running, so we had the New Zealand versus England Test match. We laid New Zealand at 4.1 in running, and then they went 286 very quickly after a few wickets. But then time just ran out for them, and they couldn't pick up the wickets on the last day. Obviously, we had a day rained off as well, so the draw ended up being a decent result for the firm. The next test starts on Thursday. We've got England in there at 11 to 8. The draw's 100 to 30, and New Zealand also 11 to 8. So very, very tight test match. It looks like England are going to have a couple more players back as well. So we'll probably be a slightly stronger side from England. So it'll be an interesting watch on Thursday. And then we've got the Euros starting on Friday.
Yeah, how is the book looking for the Euros? And like, have you laid England much, or have they sort of been on the drift with bits of kind of ropey team news as well going into the tournament? But like, do people bet patriotically with Star Sports, or are they a bit more sanguine about things?
Yeah. So in terms of the number of bets, the greatest number of bets have been on England at around the 11 to 2 mark. But the main losers are actually the Italians. So Italy are the main losers for us. We had a few decent bets at 10 to 1. They're now around the 8 to 1 mark. France are the other loser in the book, as well as England. So the 2 at the front of the market, France and England, have been well supported, as well as Italy. And like I said, the highest number of bets in England, so that most people will be cheering on England, obviously. In terms of some of the other markets we have up, we've laid Netherlands in the highest scoring teams market at 7 to 1. We're now 13 to 2 there. And then in the top goal scorer market for the tournament, Memphis Depay has been the one that everybody's wanted to go after. We're now 14 to 1, but we laid that at 18s. As I just said, we'd laid Netherlands in the highest scoring teams market as well. So obviously punters are expecting a lot of goals from the Dutch side. Romelu Lukaku has been the other player that punters have latched onto in the top goal scorer market. Laid as big as 15 to 2, but now around the 6 to 1 mark. So those will just be a couple of results that we won't want to be happening. And on Trader Chat, we'll be giving you live updates throughout the tournament as to how we're going.
Yeah, and do check out the website for some of those markets as well, special markets, that if you're not necessarily keen on backing a team outright, there are some really interesting special markets where you can get something of an edge, or definitely something of a left field bet. And I know a lot of Irish people like will kind of be supporting England. A lot of Irish people will be hoping that they lose, and a lot of Irish people will and this always happens at every tournament. England are a terrible price. The fact is, though, they're not. They actually have more than enough capabilities to win this tournament. Are you hopeful yourself that it might happen?
I was before these friendlies. I'm just not a massive fan of Kane like dropping back and trying to pick the ball up and play with the ball. I just wanted to get in the box and just be there for when the wingers kind of put it in the mixer for him. Although I did buy today a retro England shirt, so I bought the 2002 jersey. I'll wear it within a couple of next weeks on Trader Chat. So I did order that today, so hopefully that'll be turning up tomorrow so I can support the team. But the question that they all want to know the answer to, Johnny, will you be supporting England?
I'd be actually kind of on the fence. I like that.
Turn it in, Johnny, come on.
Yeah, I'll probably watch the tournament and pick. Like, I'd like the Scots to do well, but like for no other reason that they rarely make the tournament, or Celtic neighbours, yada yada. But like, I like this England team. I've no reason. We have a historic animosity towards the great imperial power. It took us a long time to establish our freedom of sorts, almost 100 years ago. But basically, we look towards England for a lot of our culture, for a lot of our sporting interests, and I mean, a lot of these people who are hoping England don't win but support Premier League teams, slightly hypocritical. I like Gareth Southgate as well, so I'd like to see England do well. If I might even end up supporting them actually as the tournament goes on. That's a roundabout way of saying I bear no ill to England whatsoever.
Okay, good stuff. So I'm not going to see you in a retro England shirt, though, am I?
No,
is that a bit too far?
Even in 2021, that'd still be a risky enough thing to do. But who knows? If Ben Keith pays me well enough, who knows?
Okay, good stuff.
Yeah.
So that obviously gets underway on Friday, so I can't wait for the Euros to start. And the last thing to talk about this week would be the Greyhound Derby, because that started last week.
So how? Yeah, one of my tips is already gone as well at a price. But how was week one?
Week one was good. It was great to see the punters back on track. Lofty said that business was brisk on the course, which was great to see. Not a huge amount of shocks during round one. And like you say, great to see the punters back out on track. We now have 12-1 joint favourites though. So Not the Bowl Sid was the pre-tournament favourite around the 14-1 mark. He's shortened into 12-1, and he would be probably our biggest loser in the book now. He's joined with Native Maestro, who's really shortened up, was impressive in the first round, into 12-1. 16-1 Ballymac Ariel, 16-1 DHS Sydney, same with New In Session at 16. Then we're 18-1 Bar. We're still a quarter of the odds, 6 places. Like I just said, Not the Bowl Sid would be the biggest loser in the book outside of Coney Wonderland. Night Tornado was the one that you tipped up, Johnny, and he was a decent loser in the book for us. So him going out isn't the worst result for us in the world. The two that I've backed are Beach Avenue, who shortened into 22-1 from 25. He came second in his heat. And then Great Name That I bet at 66. He's now shortened into 40. I know that Lofty fancies that one, so that's the reason why I got involved in Great Name That, who's come over from your side of the border actually. So all systems go for the Derby this week, which we've obviously got on Friday and Saturday, and that's kind of continuing until we get to the final on July the 10th. So we'll keep you updated with price movements in terms of Greyhound Derby. Do check out the Twitter. We do tweet out all the results on the actual night of the Derby kind of heats, and then obviously when we get to the final. So do keep an eye on that. But all kind of systems go for the second round this week, and then we'll go from there.
Great stuff, Flynn. Getting through a lot there, from Epsom to obviously to Shantil, to the cricket, to the Euros, and also the Star Sports Greyhound Derby. It's great to hear a firm taking proper bets, albeit on Group 1 races, but this is what it's all about. Proper bets, having a great weekend, losing a bit back. That's what, it's all about. And punters just have to go again. Thanks a million for your time, Flynn.
Thank you.
And that was Traders Chat with Johnny Ward and Flynn Goward, and we will be back after the Euros have begun next week.